Israel is a tiny country consisting of a majority population of Jews. The majority population of Israel are Jews and their descendants from the Middle East and Africa. There has been war against the Jews of the Middle East and elsewhere before and after Israel was established as a UN-recognized nation in 1948. There were pogroms, massacres, and murders of Jews and attacks against Jews in British-controlled Palestine. Long before Israel became a state, Jews were slaughtered, persecuted, and forced out from lands all over the Middle East and North Africa. Almost all of the Jews of Europe, over 6 million, were murdered by Hitler and his many cronies and followers during the Holocaust. There may be intermittent periods of calm, but the never disappearing effort to exterminate Jews does not cease to rear its hideous head. The pathological need to hate, to have a scapegoat, a target to demonize, blame, and dehumanize is an enormous human weakness and form of evil that keeps hatred against Jews alive. Jews, as a tiny religious ethnic minority, have been the preferred scapegoat and target of hate and murder since time immemorial. The desire and effort to murder and exterminate Jews is not kept hidden. It is there in plain sight. It is not enough that there was a Holocaust. It is not enough that there were many centuries of persecution, murder, and slaughter of Jews throughout the Middle East, North Africa, and elsewhere. It is not enough that almost the entire Middle East, Asia, and North Africa were turned into Jew-free zones. October 7th showed the world once again what the enemies of Jews will do if they get their hands on defenseless people. They murder, rape, kidnap, mutilate, torture, burn alive, loot, commit atrocities and more against every defenseless person they get their hands on. The Jew haters come up with never-ending reasons for their demonic hate. They rant on endlessly about why they hate Jews. Everything the Jew hater does not like or finds wrong in the world, they blame on the Jew. The Jew is the crutch for the weak-minded. Countless time and effort is wasted refuting the never-ending effort to demonize, dehumanize, scapegoat, blame, and defame Jews. As long as evil exists, people will hate, defame, demonize, blame, target, scapegoat, and seek to murder Jews. The need to hate and harm the object of that hate, including murder, is an enormous human weakness and form of evil. It exists not because the Jew exists, which is what they think, but because evil exists. No decent human being on the planet, even if they are filled with hate, will murder or allow murder to become acceptable, or to be acceptable. When those that are against murder are no longer dominant, very dark times descend upon humanity. Millions of people want to murder the target of their hate, Jews, and blame the Jews. They want to murder for their own murderous desires. When Jew haters do murder, they and their followers blame the murdered instead of the murderers. Jew haters try to make it about religion, politics, distorted and untrue narratives about Jews, or some other excuse to hate Jews, a people they treat as one monolithic entity and not as unique individuals with minds of their own. Jew haters know full well that calling for the destruction of Israel is a call for genocide and mass murder. They often use lofty slogans to hide their murderous intent. The hatred against Jews is one of the few things that perversely unites many people and countries. Jew hatred is exploited by many and used as a way to gain followers, wealth, money, fame, fortune, audiences, and unite people behind a demented cause. It is a crutch that attracts the weak-minded. Millions of people happily go along with this evil. Millions condemn Israel for waging a war that Israel did not start, in a world full of raging wars that few to no one condemns. Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and others from Gaza murdered, sexually abused, kidnapped, mutilated, tortured, burned people alive, desecrated bodies, much of which they themselves filmed. They murdered and committed atrocities against people of all ages inside of Israel on October 7th, including babies, children, women, girls, defenseless people of all ages. Rather Rather than condemn this evil, many leaders and influential people of all sorts pander instead to Jew-hating mobs and crowds. The human weakness to mindlessly conform ensures the widespread embrace of Jew hatred. Few have the moral fortitude to resist what the mob wants. This is not about supporting Israel. It is about the widespread acceptance and embrace of murder, kidnapping, sexual abuse, and atrocities as long as it is committed against the Jew, even when they cynically substitute the word Zionist or another word for Jew. It remains the same demonic acceptance and support for murder, atrocities, and other enormous evils. There would be no war now if Hamas and company, Islamic Jihad and company, did not murder and commit atrocities inside of Israel on October 7th. There would be far fewer casualties of war in Gaza if Hamas did not use civilians as their human shields, and if they did not brainwash children into their cult of hatred. Hamas built tunnels for themselves and no bomb shelters above ground for civilians. Hamas wages war, hiding beneath and behind children and other civilians. Hamas spent billions of wasted dollars enriching their leaders and building tunnels beneath ground to protect only themselves and their allies. Their extremely wealthy leaders live in luxury in Qatar, Turkey, and elsewhere, far from the misery they helped unleash. If Palestinian Arabs were in the Sudan, Yemen, DRC, Democratic Republic of the Congo, or anywhere in the world where there is mass murder and genocide, raging war, and not a Jew in sight to blame, there would not be a single protest, concern, or outcry anywhere. As it happens, there is mass murder and genocide in the Darfur region of the Sudan, other parts of the Sudan, in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, other parts of the Congo, in Yemen, Myanmar, and elsewhere. And since there is no Jew to blame, no one cares.